In today's video, we are talking about how to pair the right shoes with your fall outfits. I have 10 pairs, some shoes, some boots, and we're going to put them to the test. I think this is going to be a long one, so let's get started. For a wide leg jean, you want to play off the extra volume that you have in the bottom by pairing it with something slimmer on top. So I've done just that and already set myself up for success. That means that most likely with a wide leg jean, you want to go with something slim on your foot, again, to play off the extra volume that you have from the jeans and to match up the slim top. In the cutaway, I'm showing you some silky wide leg trousers, and for the most part, they act exactly the same as one another, but I'll talk through some nuances of the wide leg trousers, especially since they're silky, but I thought I'd show a silky option since that seems to be a very trendy style right now. A pointed toe flat is going to give you some elongation and a nice long point that makes the foot look really slim and dainty, and that plays beautifully against the width of the pant. Now you see the pant is just brushing the top of my foot. This makes it a perfect length for flats. As you can see, it is not hitting the floor or puddling against the floor. It's brushing against the top of my foot, and that's what you want to look for in your inseam. And of course, since a pointed toe flat works really well with these wide leg jeans, so will a kitten heel pump or a high heel pump. Make sure that it's pointed toe, that really helps. And make sure that the inseam on your jeans or trousers is the appropriate length for that particular shoe. These could stand to use maybe 1 inch here since I'm adding the height with the kitten heel. And of course I would need to add a couple of inches depending on the heel height if I went with a little higher of a heel. But right now we're all doing kitten heels and I'm happy to just stick to this lower height heel. These don't look half bad, but I would probably, let me see if I could zhuzh it down a little bit. Like I would want them exactly like that. That would be perfection. Here is a sling back, and of course these work fine too. These are just a little shorter than those red heels, but the same. You can probably maybe get an inch more length on the jeans if you could. However, this is a great option for wide leg jeans as well. A pointed toe sling back works perfectly. I think we're seeing a theme here, of course, right? The pointed toe is definitely a good match for these wide legs. Here we have the driving moccasin. Now I don't have loafers, but I think these qualify very much as a slim type of loafer. I would categorize them and style them up the same way. And for a wide leg jean, I would opt against this. I just don't like the rounded toe with the wide leg. I feel like there's just not enough sleekness down there, and it's just not working really well. It looks very workman and just very masculine, manly in general. That's not the vibe I'm going for, so this does not work for me. I must say with the silky trouser, the driving moccasins don't really work either. I want to say I like them a little better than the wide leg jean because it's almost as if the flowiness of the trouser is juxtaposing the stiffness of the moccasin. It feels a little better than the denim, and it's also maybe a formality thing, like they feel a little more dressy, and so they go with the dressy trouser a little better. However, I would opt for a lighter moccasin or lighter loafer because, again, I feel like when going with such a light trouser, something so dark, I've never liked that look of like a black shoe with a light pant. Sometimes it works, but in most cases, I just feel like it just adds a lot of heaviness down there. It's not my preference. I mean, if these were pointy and longer like the boots that you're seeing or the pointed toe flats, I think that really helps, but being that it's already round and stumpy looking and the darkness just makes it look that much harsher. On the other hand, these ballerina flats, I think if you're going to go for a rounded toe, I think you would go with a ballerina flat because it is much more daintier and slimmer on the foot, and you're getting that slim effect against the wide leg, and I think this works pretty well. It's not my favorite, but I would definitely opt for a ballerina flat over a driving moccasin loafer. Still, my number one is a pointed toe. Also in the rounded toe category are your sleek sneakers. These are very slim, retro style, and I think these are really cool casual option when it comes to wide legs. It's very slimming and it just doesn't feel bulky, especially since I've got a light color here. The sneakers with the silk trousers are not my favorite, perhaps because these are silk trousers. They're feeling a little too dainty and light for the sneaker. In this case, if I went with like a wool trouser or something like that, like a heavier feeling trouser, I usually like the look of that with sneakers in general. But because these are so light and silky, I feel like the sneaker might almost be a little too heavy, but I'm glad that the sneaker is at least light. If I went with a black sneaker, it would look far too heavy for this. But since the tone of the sneaker is a little on the lighter side and it kind of matches the lightness of these pants, I feel like the sneaker doesn't look half bad in this case. However, it definitely would not be my first option. For an ankle bootie, a pointed toe, of course, goes really well also. And this is very easy for the wide leg to just fall over the top of the boot. Barely could tell that you're even wearing a boot, but this also has that great slimming effect down there, and it looks really flattering with some wide leg jeans. I also have these square toe boots. Now, the thing about these square toes is that they're still elongated, and then they come out to a square. It's almost like the point of the toe has been snipped off. So they're not a very traditional square toe. They're a bit of an elongated, more modern feeling square toe. So for that reason, I think that they do look really good with the wide legs. These are knee-high boots, by the way, from Jeffrey Campbell, and they're absolutely stunning. It's like a brown croc embossed, and yeah, just gorgeous. So as you can see, they're still long and pointy and drawing away from the wide leg, so your foot's not buried underneath your jeans. And for that reason, I really like how that looks. So these work quite well as well. Because these wide leg jeans have so much width on them, of course, I can even hide my chunky slouchy boot underneath. I have no problem at all because it's still loose and flowy, and I have movement in my pants, and they don't look like they're bunching up or anything. Not that I'd really opt to put these under here, but in a pinch, if you needed to put some slouchy boots under your wide leg jeans, that would work too. And of course, they're pointy, so that really helps. Now for the slouchy boot under the silky trouser, I feel like this particular trouser is wide enough to fall over the top of the boot. However, I feel like the slouchiness underneath and the extra width, and also being that these are suede, it's kind of sticking against the silk trouser not very well, feeling like it's kind of not flowing and falling as good as they should. So for that reason, I would definitely stay away from these as an option under your silky trousers. But again, maybe with wool or a heavier trouser material, it might work better. So experiment and see what works. But if you are compromising the drape and the looseness and flow of your trousers because of your shoe option, I would then stay away from that shoe. Now, very much like the driving moccasin and loafer, I don't like the look of a combat boot with wide leg jeans either. I mean, this really looks like a workman on the job, like a plumber coming to fix your toilet or something. It just is not a vibe. It's just really industrial looking and very heavy, masculine, and it just looks like you're going to do some hard labor. So that's not a look I'm going for. This is not a good vibe. Next up, we have the straight leg jean. Now these in particular are a little more of a relaxed straight leg jean, but I wanted to wear them nonetheless because I think they all pretty much operate the same way. These are hitting me just at my ankle, and I have also included in this mix the barrel leg and the trouser that is also a cropped straight leg. Actually, they're a little bit more of a tapered ankle length leg, but again, I feel like they operate the same as a straight leg. I think these are probably going to be one of the most versatile options when it comes to shoe options, simply because the ankle is on show, and it really makes for an easier choice of shoe, and it makes the options open up a little bit more. For example, a pointed toe shoe, of course, is going to look really good with this. I think a pointed toe shoe is probably universal across the board, looking good with probably everything. So this is no exception, and it looks really good here as well. A pointed toe pump, of course, same thing, operates exactly the same way, gives you a little bit of height. You can go higher or lower on your heel, and I think with a straight leg, they just they work beautifully. I think it's such a chic look. I also especially love this on the barrel leg. I wish those particular barrel legs were just a teensy bit shorter. They were hitting me more at almost at the top of my foot than at my ankle, and I was hoping they would be just a little shorter. They would, if they were, I think they'd work with the shoes so much better, but in general you get the picture. I like how the sleekness of the shoe goes with the volume of the barrel leg. So that's a really good pairing there, but I think they look great with the straight leg and with the straight trouser too. A slingback I think also looks really good. I feel like this is just a natural fit together. They look really chic and elevated. I mean, it looks good with the barrel and with the trouser as well. And thanks to having the ankle on show, it makes for a heavier shoe on the bottom to fit a lot better with the jean. In this case, the straight leg jean. I love how the ankle just kind of breaks up the heaviness of the loafer or moccasin in this case with the straight leg pant, and you just have that little bit of daintiness right in the middle there, and it makes it feel a lot more wearable. This is probably one of the few ways I would wear a loafer or a moccasin is with an ankle pant and just basically having the ankle on show. And with the barrel jean, I didn't hate it with the barrel jean, but again, I wish it was just a teensy bit shorter so you can have that ankle present a lot more and it would make a big difference. The ballerina flat too as well, it works beautifully here. I think this is just such a versatile silhouette. It's really hard to get this one wrong. The slim retro sneaker, of course, no surprise. These work here as well too because the ankle is on show. I liked them with the barrel leg jean as well. Rolled it up just a little bit to show the ankle. I think that helps. But as far as the volume of the barrel leg with the sneaker, I think it worked really well too. And with the straight leg trouser too. Everything looks really good with the sneaker thanks to the ankle. All right, here is the ankle booty. Now you can see these are quite short, and even though the pants are cropped, they're still falling on top of the boot, which makes them perfectly appropriate. And I love how that looks because the boot is really slim and tight up the ankle, so it's hugging the ankle, and I mean, it's not hugging it too much. These aren't that like skin tight here like a sock booty, but still in comparison to the straight leg, this straight leg of course is a little more on the relaxed side, so it's giving a little bit more width, and then you have the slim boot coming underneath it, and I just think that looks really, really chic, and I love how that looks. It also looks really chic with the barrel leg because the barrel leg wide enough on the bottom to slip over the top of the boot as well. Where these didn't work was on the straight leg trouser in this case because the trouser was just a little too tight on the ankle. If it was more of a straight leg and it fell over the boot, we'd have a very good look, very similar to the jeans, but because those straight legs have a little bit more of a taper at the ankle, I couldn't get them over the boot. In this case, so it was just kind of bunching up at the ankle, and you can see it just doesn't look like a very clean, polished look. So I would experiment with a straight leg trouser. If they're a little too tapered like that, they may not work with a boot like this. But again, this pointed toe is coming out and really just looks really chic. I wanted to show you another variation of an ankle booty. These are a little more of a sock booty. You can see that they're very tight around the ankle, and these are actually coming up a little higher than the other ones as well. So this pant slips right over them quite easily, and these are also a lot taller, and this makes for a really great look as well. So I really like the look of that. I think these also worked really well with the barrel leg jean. For the same reason, the pant was able to slip over the top of this booty, and it just looks really sleek and very stylish in my opinion. Now, thanks to the sock feature of these particular booties, the tapered ankle length straight leg trousers were able to slip over the top of the boot, and for that reason, that makes it look really chic as well. So I think that's definitely a key component of wearing your ankle booties with your cropped straight legs. Definitely make sure that they're not too cropped that they're going to reveal skin or that they're going to bunch and sit at the top of the shoe. You definitely don't want something like that. If by chance you have longer straight legs that fall to the top of the foot and might bunch a little bit up when you put boots on with them, I think it's a great idea to just cuff the bottom of them. And I mean, these are far too short, but maybe I can put an example of how, like you can just cuff them up and then it looks really good with the ankle booty as well. But again, you don't want the pant leg coming up higher than the ankle boot, you want to make sure that the pant leg is still covering the top of the boot, so you have no gap of skin there. This is a bad example, but I hope you're seeing what I'm talking about. We're about halfway through this video, and if you're enjoying it so far, please take a quick second and hit that thumbs up button. Let YouTube know that you're enjoying this video. It will push it out to more fabulous ladies like yourself. And while you're down there, please check that you're subscribed. If you're not, this is what this channel is all about. Chic, sophisticated, modern fashion for the women over 40 or any age for that matter, because I do not like to put an age limit on style. If you'd like to connect with me further, I also have Instagram and TikTok, and you can check me out over there. Or you can sign up for my free newsletter. Use the QR code right here, and you can sign up for a bi-monthly newsletter featuring fashion, wellness, styling tips, health advice, all sorts of things that I love and enjoy, and I think modern women like us all really pay attention to. Finally, I have recently started a membership, and I'm so grateful for the ones that have joined so far, and I'd love for more of you to check it out. It's only $3.99 a month, and you'll get exclusive bonus content that is only for the members, as well as other fabulous perks. So just check that join button near my name underneath this video and see what all the details are about. For these knee-high boots, I couldn't quite get these jeans to fit smoothly into the pants. For that reason, I don't think this works in this case to tuck the jean into the boot. Straight legs are a little on the wider side. I can get it up over this like this. And because these are a little on the wider side, it's not interfering. And I think that looks much more appropriate than having it all bunched up here. Now the barrel leg was too tapered to get them over the boot, so I tried tucking it in, and that is an absolute disaster because they were so wide here. Even wider than these. I mean, these are kind of wide, but they were like super, super wide, and it just did not look good at all. I must say though, I think the trouser didn't look half bad. It gave me a very equestrian vibe about it, and I think it's because they were a straight leg, but they have a taper at the ankle, so there wasn't much material, and it sat nicely in the boot, and I thought that looked really chic, so I didn't really have a problem with that one. But yeah, just be wary of your knee-high boots. If they're like a sock boot and slim and really tight against the leg, then you probably won't have any trouble slipping your jeans over them. If you run into a problem where they're too tight on your leg to tuck your jeans in versus your jeans are too narrow to slip over your boot like this, then I would just stay away from them. Okay, now I don't hate this, and I think it would look even better if the straight legs were a little slimmer in the straight department, but this is giving me very much of like a Isabel Marant vibe, I think, and I'm really not hating this. I did hate it on the barrel legs though, because it was just too extreme. I almost felt like I was a pirate going out to sea, and I didn't mind it on the trousers because the trousers were pretty slim. I think it's doable. As for these combat boots, honestly, I'm not even quite sure why I even have them in this video, but I know maybe sometimes you might want to reach for your Chelsea boot or your combat boot or your lug sole boot for some reason. So I just wanted to include them in here as an option. I just don't like the look of these. Even with the crop and the ankle, it's just not helping this. I mean, this is not the worst of what we've seen as far as how these look with the other pairings in this video. I just feel like I'm gonna go into a mosh pit or something, like I'm in a club in the 90s. And it's definitely not the vibe that I'm going for. If I had to absolutely wear this boot for some reason, I think a jean like this would probably be the best option, a straight leg crop. So that way you don't feel like you have a heavy and a heavy. At least this feels a little lighter and daintier, and it is kind of showing the ankle a little bit. But overall, this is just not my aesthetic at all. So it's really hard for me to comment on it. The only reason I have these in my wardrobe is because my husband insisted that I get them because we were moving to Utah and there's snow and elements here, and I needed like a heavy duty boot to get around town. Well, that's yet to happen, so let's see if I need these through the winter. Next up, we have the slim straight jean. Now these are definitely more on the slimmer side. They're borderline skinny, but not quite skinny. This is, I guess, what you could say your modern skinny. I did a whole video on these back in the springtime where I tried a whole bunch of them on, and these were the winner from Everlane. So I thought I would style these up for this test here. And with a slim pair of jeans like this, I would go with something a little bulkier on top, probably even go even bulkier than this cardigan, just to give myself some more volume up here. And that means that we probably want to look for shoes that have a little more volume on the bottom. So let's see where this goes. So far, I do like it with these pointed toe options. I mean, I don't think it's the best option out there, but again, I think pointed toes really lend themselves to just looking good with everything. If you're not a fan of having this skinny all the way down like this, that may not be the best option for you, but I really didn't mind these three looks. I think the red pump is probably the best of all three, maybe because it is red and it's a little shocking and vibrant there at your foot, and it kind of speaks a little louder than the other two options. So it might be for that reason. Overall, I didn't really mind any of these three shoe options. Okay, I have to say, even though I so much prefer pointed toes over round toes, I feel like the rounded toes are looking a little better with this slim straight jean. Like these ballerina flats, I think look really good. Again, maybe it's because a little bit of skin is showing. These are not quite ankle length. I mean, I guess they kind of are. They're just past the ankle. But in any case, there's that gap of skin that's showing, and I think it's just really helping things out. I surprisingly love them with the driving moccasin. I think a slim loafer would be an equivalent look in this case. I really love how thin these look, and then the little bit more bulkiness of the driving moccasin just is a good contrast, and I really, really love the look of that. The sneakers also not half bad. I think maybe I would have liked the pants to be a little bit shorter in order to pair them with a sneaker. For the most part, that didn't look half bad either. These are probably winning over the pointed toe in my mind when it comes to pairing them with a slim jean like this. Surprisingly, I was able to fit these slim jeans over the top of these booties, and I really like this look because the boot itself is adding a little bit of bulk, and the slim jeans against it looks really, really good together, I think. It's a good pairing. If you did have a true skinny jean, you would not be able to pull this off, I'm sure, and maybe the boot would be sitting over the top of your jean. But as long as you don't have a gap of skin between the two, like this, if you can just tuck the jean into the boot and have it seamlessly go all the way through there and you don't have any gap of skin, I think that would look fine as well. This is a happy, pleasant surprise to have these fall over the top of these boots. And the same goes for the sock booty option. Again, the pant we're able to slip over the top of them, and I love it that there's no gap. I like the extra height. I think these look really good with this type of pant. Now these particular knee-high boots, in theory, this should look really good. However, the shaft on these particular boots is a little on the more narrow side, so I had a little trouble tucking in. You can see there's just a little bit of bunching there. However, overall, it's not half bad because the jean itself is still very slim, and if you could do a better job than me of tucking it in, it might look a little better, or just opt for a wider shaft. I have a pair that, let me just try those on. I think it's going to make a big difference. Yes, like this option here, see the shaft is much wider, so there's less gathering here at the knee. It could fall into the boot a little smoother, and it makes a big difference. So it just looks a little more sleek and intentional than a fashion faux pas. So try to find a shaft of a boot that's wide enough to comfortably tuck your jeans into. I think that makes a big difference. And I also love these jeans with the slouchy boot. I think just the heaviness of the slouch against the skinniness of these types of jeans really works well together. I liked it pulled up to the knee, and I also liked it scrunched down. I think it looks good either way, and it's just a good contrast there between the skinny and the extra volume. Okay, I had to turn the fan on because I literally broke out into a sweat getting these boots on, because I knew that an over-the-knee boot is very popular right now, the thigh-high boot, the over-the-knee boot, and I knew that they would fit really well with a slim jean. I did have trouble getting these on simply because this zipper is only down here, and it was really hard to kind of maneuver this boot up my leg without having my pant come up along with it. But I managed, and I really love this look. This is something I've always been a fan of. I love a thigh-high boot with a slim jean. I just think that looks really sexy and hot, and I like it. May not be everyone's taste, I get that, but this is always a fun option, and it goes great with the slim, with the skinny. Okay, here we have a little mini sweater dress. This one is on the tighter side, however, you could go for a looser style. I'm just trying to show you how something above the knee would work with all the shoe options. As for the flats, the pointed toe, and the two kitten heels, I would definitely say that I really wasn't a fan of any of them with a short skirt like this. I mean, you can go for a short skirt or a short dress, same thing. I just felt like it was a little too dainty, feminine, and it just didn't create any opposition. I don't know, it just didn't seem to work for me. Now the driving moccasins, on the other hand, they just looked really frumpy, so I'm just not a fan of those with a short skirt. The sneakers, if I created a casual vibe, I think they would definitely work because they added a little bit of chunkiness at the foot, as opposed to this being pretty sleek and tight and form-fitting. The ballerina flat, although that's really light and airy, it seemed to work here as well because I think the rounded toe and just the flatness of it just kind of minimized the sexiness of this dress, I think. And with these ankle booties, I'm definitely preferring this ankle booty over the sock booty. Again, just because this feels the tiniest bit more substantial and like larger than the sock booty, and so I feel like it gives a little width down there and it helps out. For a short skirt slash dress like this, I really don't mind the ankle booty because I do have a lot of leg on show, and I don't feel that same awkward cutoff feeling that I have as the midi skirt or dress. So if you don't mind a mini skirt or something that comes up above the knee, I think it really helps to do that when it comes to an ankle booty. If you're going to pair it with a skirt or a dress, go for something shorter like this, or go for full-on maxi all the way to the ground so you don't have that awkward cut at the leg. And of course, all the knee-high and above the knee boot options are going to work beautifully with a mini skirt, mini dress. I love how all of these look. I prefer, since it is a fitted dress, that the boots have a little bit of substance to them. Like, these are still feeling like not a sock boot, like they're not skin tight on my leg. They do have a little bit of substance to them, like they don't feel skin tight is basically what I'm saying. And of course the slouchy boot looked really good because it was nice and bulky and voluminous against this tight dress, and the crocodile boots also, because they're not such a slim boot, they add a little bit of substance down there, so it really works with the tightness of this dress. If I was in a loose, slouchy type of sweater dress that had a little more volume and it wasn't so clingy and form-fitting, I would probably still think that the same type of boot works with that as well. But in that case, you could probably also throw in a tighter boot into the mix and it would work really well with that too. This video is running quite long, so I'm taking the skirt portion of this video and adding it to the membership as the exclusive bonus. So if you'd like to join the membership, you can do that and check that out. The shoes that are available will be linked in the description box below in case you want to do a little shopping. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and consider checking out the newsletter and the membership. Leave me a comment and let me know what you thought about these shoe pairings. And I also didn't include leggings in this video, but I just recently made an entire video about leggings, so you can check that out up here. Thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate you so very much, and thank you for being here. See you soon. Bye.